Hi, this is Takuma Nakata. I'm an interaction designer based in Kyoto, and welcome to my vvvv beta graphics tutorial. Today I'm going to be sharing how I record images and videos generated inside vvvv. And there's basically two reasons why I'm doing this. One, I want to record uh, images and videos generated in Vivi so that I can share in social. I have three reasons actually. So I want to share it in social, and the second reason is I want them. I want the images to identify which patch generates what. So I'll explain what that means. And the third reason is I want to print. Since this is a graphics tutorial, I think most of you guys are interested in sharing your images, or I don't know, deliver it to your client. And Vivi has this huge potential that you can generate just like so you can deliver high-res images in the same time as high-res videos. And the reason why you can generate high-res images is because Vivi doesn't have a limitation with resolution, so you can go high up to 9,999 per 9,999 pixel, and it still works. You can still capture images in that high resolution. So I think that's one of the biggest potential for vvvv. And yeah, so for those who's interested in capturing your images, let's see how that works. So this is the goal for today. We're gonna see how to we're gonna learn how to make this screen recorded sub patch that I made for my own. It's only using basic node from DX11, so if you have already installed DX11, this should be quite easy. And so the second reason I just said I want to identify which patch is for what. That was quite difficult to explain those, but the basic image is like, for example, this is the patch that I made to generate these graphics. So I have all these graphics generated using this patch, put it inside here so that I know, okay, so, and I also, for my daily thing, I have all my daily patches in one folder so that I know this one, day 13th, I made this one, and this is the visual that I generated on that day. And I take few different images from that because it's just one click. And I also have different modules so that sub patches inside here that I'm using are all inside here, so nothing happens outside this folder. And whenever I have next day, for example, for day 14, I just copy paste this folder. And if I'm doing something similar to that, I just copy and paste and use all these modules, sub modules, and things like that. So that I don't mess around with super physical girl power patches, but instead of that, I make a sub module inside the folder, and so that every day I can keep generate visuals in the same time. I can, when I open it up and start editing it, I can actually generate the same visual as I did for my daily stuff. So if your client asks, or if someone asks, I want printing of this image, you can actually reopen that patch and just screen capture it. And this is quite handy. So yeah, some of these I actually forget to record it, but they're here. And the good thing about this is also with image capturing, the resolution is not a big matter. So I have all of them recorded in 5K. So if you zoom in, it's still in a really good detail. So if I want to print them, it's possible. I really like this gradation one. Yeah, this one. For example, if I open this one up, it doesn't look that clear from far away, but if you zoom in, it's really, really nice and detailed. Okay, so yeah. So this is also the second reason why I decided to record each images. Now I don't have them laying around all over my computer. Instead of that, I have them all in one file, and I know which one does what. So okay, let's get started with that. Yeah, so for those who's been following my Instagram, you might know I've been posting these. But that thing with Instagram is that it doesn't allow dense, really clear images to be shown, and with video it's really fucked up, so that's pretty sad. But anyways, let's get started. Let's close the sample patch. And I'll open up a new one. Okay, so this is where we're going to start for today. And, screen recorder. So let's see how this works. So first of all, what I did here is I'm using this node called writer. I think it was texture 2D. I think it's this one. Yep. So we're gonna be using this one. It's basically this, and what it has is has texture input, photo name, format, and write. So this is basically it. And also let's check if it's validated or not. Now it has nothing here, and then I have no texture connected, file name, and format. So what you basically do is with format I tend to use PNG. Maybe TIFF is also a good idea, but I want to keep the alpha sometimes, so rather than JPEG I try to use PNG. And then you can locate your wherever you want to save. So for example, I have this folder called tutorial, so just put it here, file name, tutorial for today. So yeah, this is basically it. And so if I for example connect whatever render, this one, then I'll just connect some quad, put it here. Okay, texture. Okay, so this is it. If I connect, if I click this one, there should be an image saved inside the tutorial folder. Oh, I'm not seeing the right result. Well, anyways, I'll just skip this part. I don't know why it didn't work with this one, but I'll show you a better way. Instead of using this render DX11, I tend to use this node called render DX11 MRT. And for those who's been following my tutorials, you've been realized like I'm not using the render preview, but instead of that I connect preview node to this render MRT. And why is the reason for that? And there is a reason for that. So good thing about this render MRT is this one has a texture size input, and with this render DX11 without MRT thing, it doesn't have resolution input. Instead of that, it has this actual bug buffer size XY, and what this does is it's based on the size of the render. So if you scale this up, the size changes. So this is the amount of pixel that it's generating. This is very handy when you have like, okay, today I made a video for full HD, but my client wants it for 4K, then you just have to set up a 4K monitor and you can record something in 4K. It's very handy, but in the same time I take it very unstable. So instead of this, recently I decided to use this one. So here I can specify the resolution of the output. So what I have to do is I just have to record this preview output, and it has this resolution to it. And the basic workflow with this is the same. You just have to use, you can connect camera, whatever camera you want, and it works as like the other renderer. So there's nothing complicated. Also, a good thing about this is, for example, if you want to change the color, like post effects, you can do it by, let's just connect blur. You can connect blur, for example, to it and change the result here. So with this, you can add post effects quite easily. And if you want to do this with the other renderer, you actually had to make a render and then add some post effects. For example, post effects, and then you had to create a full screen quad and then connect another render, and that was like too much for me. I didn't want different renders that doesn't have much to do, like laying around. So I recently started using this MRT render. So if you haven't used it, please try that out. So what I'll do is I'll connect this one here, and then I should have this one saved in the tutorial folder. Ah, I know why it's not working. Okay. Yes. Okay, I forgot about this. So this writer, you need to specify the format to output. And now that I have it with .png, it works. Okay, so we now know that this guy works, but as I just showed, it has a problem when I'm saving images. And I mean, people do forget adding formats. So what I do here is I add this string node here so that I have a location specified. And then I also have, I can add some name. So I add 3 of them. And then what I'll do here is let this guy add the format and the format and the name of the file. So this will be the name of the folder that I'll save. So I just set it like this. I don't need a file name here. Tutorial. And then here I'll set the name of the image. For example, for today I'll just say tutorial image, and then here I'll specify the format. So for today it's going to be PNG. So if you add these, you won't forget to add the format. So what you have to do is just have to change this guy. So name, and this guy will be location. Yep, with this I wouldn't forget. Oh, and there's another good thing to add. I think I'll add, no, not 34. 4. And instead of here, I'll put this PNG guy here. And then I'll add a counter as string. And then I'll put this guy here as string. And then I'll change this one to integer. Then I'll add this guy here. And then counter will keep it to unlimit. So it keeps going up. And then whenever I click tug edge, so whenever I click this writer thing, it will count up. Let's see. So this counter thing will keep counting up the name, so that as you see here, I have, now I'm with tutorial image 1, tutorial image 02, so that it doesn't overwrite the previous image. Because vvvv, with this node that you made, it doesn't have this thing to, how to say, caution you, like, hey, you're overwriting it, are you sure you want to? And it won't ask you for that, it will just automatically rewrite it. So to avoid that, use this counter node so that it keeps adding different names onto it. Okay, and last thing I'll do here is I'll add a switch, and then here I'll add 2 different resolution. One would be 1080, and then here I'll add times 3, 1080 times 3. So whenever I hit this right, it should, yeah, did you see it? It just changed the resolution like for a second. So by doing this, whenever I click this, I can have a high resolution. And then I'll connect this resolution output from this switch to the texture size. So now let's see. So the last image that I saved here, the resolution with this guy was 10. Yeah, I don't want to show all of them, but it was 1920 to 1080. Okay, so what happens if I press this guy? Now I got another image here, which is this one. It should be number 5, right? Number 5, and I think the resolution in this image is, see, so it's around 6K. Is that a guest? Okay, so by doing this, I now have a screen recorder working with blurs and all the post effects. I also shared how I create why I use this render MRT instead of the other ones. And then at the last, what I will do here is I'll just make these guys as a sub patch. So once I have all these here, what I will do is I'll make a sub patch out of this. And in vvvv, if you press Ctrl G, it creates a sub patch with the node you selected. But for some reason, the version I'm using, it doesn't work. So instead of this, I'll create another patch, and then I'll copy paste everything here, and I'll save it here. I'll save it in this patch. So I'll disconnect this one, and also disconnect this resolution, and also this validate, and then I'll just copy these ones and put it here, and then I'll save this node to the tutorial folder. So I'll call this a recorder, then I'll save it, then I'll delete this one, and I'll go to the tutorial folder, and now I have this patch called recorder. So I'll drag and drop this one, and now I have this patch called recorder, and if you right click here, it has the nodes that I created, and it has the output and input of the ones that I have named them. And if you don't know how to make, how to say this descriptive name thing out, you just have to middle click your mouse and you should get these. How do you delete this? Yeah, so if you delete the name, you can delete it. If you middle click, you get it. And if you go to the inspector, it has this descriptive name thing. So resolution, if you name it, you can change the name, and now this render should have an input called resolution, but I don't need this one here, so I'll just delete. Okay, so now I have a texture input. I'll output the validate, and I also have the resolution, so I'll output this resolution, and then I'll connect this one here, and then format right. Why is the format right? Yeah, I want the right to be the right. Okay, so now I have the right input here, so I'll get this one, I middle click and change the name to recorder, and also have the location, so I'll connect this one to this blur, and then I'll set the location again to the tutorial, and then I'm too lazy to change the name, so I'll just keep it like this. The format, I wouldn't have to change this one as well, so it's PNG. Okay, so I click this one, and let's see how it goes. Oh wait, why didn't, oh, okay, so the counter is set to 1, so I'll just delete all the images that I created, and then I'll right click here. Not this one, I'll right click here. Now I have a new image called tutorial image 2, and with this one has this resolution with around 6K. Yeah, so by using this, I think it will be super easy for you to record the image that you made. Once you have this here, once you have this in your whatever folder, what you have to do is just drag and drop the patch to the patch that you made for today, and then make sure you connect the resolution and the texture, and that's basically it. yeah, that was it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps. See you next time.